as a moral philosophy and also as a social movement, environmentalism is only conceivable in the modern world. That's my argument.
Let's talk about this moral philosophy. There's a stream of thought which says that the concern for environment was embedded in ancient Indian Hindu customs and rituals.
Yes, yes.
When you worship trees, when you worship rivers,
Yes.
when you have a range of animals and birds which are the bahana or the vehicles of deities, then there is an innate reverence towards these. So you do not want to then tame the nature. There is no desire to control the planet because the planet you conceive as a divine entity.
Correct.
So how do you respond to it? So, this concealed environmentalism.
So it is true that in some of our ancient scriptures there is a sensitivity towards nature. It's also true that outside the ancient scriptures, which was the preserve of the elite and the educated classes and mostly the Brahmins, ordinary folk, peasants, tribals, pastoralists, fishermen, working on a small scale in the 10th century, the 12th century, the 14th century, knew how to manage their forest, their water in a kind of sustainable way, right? But in terms of religion, there are two things. One is there are contradictory indications in the text. If you look at our ancient texts, you may have, there is a line which is often attributed, that having planting 1,000 trees is equal to having a sun, kind of thing, right? Or reverence of the sun itself or of the beauty of the mountains. But how does that? But there are also in our ancient Hindu texts, there is also occasionally a glorification of the destruction of nature. So if you look at the episode of the burning of the Khandava forest in the Mahabharata, it is a exaltation of killing the tribals and the animals and the snakes. It's a burning of an entire forest by the victorious race, right? So that's the first problem with going back to our ancient scriptures. The second problem is very simple. Look at the state of the Ganga flowing past Banaras over the last 150 years. If we Hindus were so caring about nature, there's a third problem. Look at how the caste system transfers pollution, to the Dalits. How does that square with apparent reverence for nature and all of that? So I am very skeptical of those who rely on ancient scriptures. There are too many contradictory elements in those traditions, and you only have to look at the ravaging of the Himalaya now under a government which professes to be a Hindu government, right? So I feel that I would say when you look at pre-modern traditions, there's more merit in looking at systems of resource management practiced by local communities who are often unlettered and illiterate, rather than looking at some verses composed in the most beautiful Sanskrit by some great Brahmin poet. If you want to look at how we can use ancient wisdom for modern environmental ends, you don't have to look at the Vedas, the Puranas, the Quran, the Bible, etc. Where you should go is, for example, in the work of Anupam Mishra, which you know well.
I wanted to,
I cited in my book briefly. There, where he talks about water conservation in the desert and how the peasants and the pastoralists practiced it, and what we can still learn from reviving and renewing.